Hi, and welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Yay, I know, the light. Today, I want to put an onus on you, and hopefully that someone will take up. Now, recently by a friend, I was asked, why do you do this? Why do you, sorry, it's a label. Why do you constantly make these videos? And the videos aren't meant to be a medical breakthrough of sorts. What they are meant to be is a way that I can communicate with people. It's my way of building our community. Now, some people have asked, well, how can I'm just a lonely person. Well, I thought that as well. Now, a lot of these feelings for me are areas that I think have been really missed. And that diabetes for years meant that of isolation. If you got sick with diabetes prior to 1922, I think, don't quote me on that, but once you got diagnosed with diabetes, that was pretty much the end of your life. And it wasn't a pleasant. We need to help build, to show new diabetics that there is a life. It can also help you grow. And that's important. Years ago, I was a part, two kind of groups, and one group, I guess it was 15, 16. It must be 16 because I was starting to learn how to drive, and this was down in Houston, Texas. And I didn't really think, oh, well, yeah, all they're doing is talking about their diabetes. Well, that's exactly what we have to do. We have to get out there, tell others that, yes, it's the pits, getting up every day to do blood sugars, having to wear a pump. Even if you have a pod, it's still a pain. It is a pain. But if we build community, we can have fun. I have talked about this a few times in this video. I talked about diabetic education centers. I've talked about getting out and doing stuff, taking your kids and finding a group that does things together. Now, your diabetic group, whatever you want to call it, the one-shotters, is something that is really needed. Now, so often they are bombarded with so much information about what diabetes is. And, they sit there and they all roll their eyes. And they need to learn from from older diabetics, and I'm just meaning the term older as I've had it longer, that they need to grab hold of this disease and take it forward. Now, I think it's important to say that, yes, these diabetic talks are great. Sitting down with people and just talking about their lives as being a diabetic will help build our community. It helps ideas for new research projects or what they're doing. Is it aiming for something right for actually out in the community? I I don't envision these to be really a structured idea. And I want these to be, here I go again, but I picture these to be very easygoing. That people just don't have to sit and worry, that they can be open. Now, there has been like coffee groups. I've been part of coffee groups, even though I can't drink coffee, but not part of diabetes. And I thought, you know what? That's the way that we can build. Now, I'm sure many doctors and nurses are doing the best they can. But what we truly need is a place hosted by diabetics for diabetics, and not necessarily having doctors and nurses, because what will happen is it'll just turn into, oh, this is another thing for diabetes education. Yes, you have to do this, and I find, blah, blah. And that's not the point. The point is people learn from one another. And it can help that if someone is going through something that you've gone through, then, you know what? It won't be so hard. It won't be isolating for the diabetics. More and more is happening every day, but there's still this little grain of, oh, I'm the only one who has it. Oh. Now, there's many different terms. And, like, there's a diaversary. That's the day we all got diagnosed. October 7th, 1977 was the year for me, or the date for me. And, you know, there's also Diabuddies, there's Diafoods. You know, foods designed for diabetics, not to raise their blood sugar super high. But, you know, it can be something simple as two people talking in their homes, or a group meeting at a meeting room, or going out for coffee together. But everyone should get out and do something to teach the ongoers. Now, I've decided to do it trying to reach more of an audience. Right now, it's a little slow, but, you know, I'm sure one day somebody may stumble upon these, and hopefully it helps someone. Now, none of these groups are meant to give out any medical device that shouldn't be followed right then and there, because that's doctors and nurses' point. We're just talking about how to live, and how ideas that your doctor and nurse may have tried that worked for you or didn't work for you. Are you any tips or tricks to help monitor how much you eat? There's so much out there that we can be discussing, and it's time that we all take to build our community. Type 1 is only, I think they said 10% of all the diabetics. So most of the stuff, you go to your drugstore or whatever, and it's all type 2, you know, and you see it on TV so often. Oh yes, I beat type 2. I beat diabetes. Yes, well, you may be able to beat type 2, but type 1 is still a big stumbling block. Now, for years, type 1 was always considered to be a juvenile disease. What happens with juvenile in childhood? Well, I hate to say it, there is no cure, you grow up. But people don't realize this. And I went into an emergency room. I was brought in, and the doctor who looked after me kept saying, well, if you lost the weight, you could cure diabetes. And I kept saying, what type of diabetes do you think I have? And it was, well, it's obvious by your age and your weight, you're type 2. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm type 1. We've done the test to prove it's a type 1. And that test, I believe, is called C-peptide. And he went back and looked at the records and came back and said, I'm sorry. They took a look at my size and my weight, and it was type 1. And we do grow up. And I think we need to talk about that. If you have any questions or stories that you want to share with me, what am I? Mike's Diabetes World at shaw.ca. Or not Mike, sorry. Yeah, Mike's Diabetes World at shaw.ca. I just sort of created the account. But get out there, do something. You may find you're going to learn an awful lot with this. Talk with your diabetic nurses, your endocrinologist, about getting the word out. Talk about going to meeting up with new diabetics. Going to a kids' camp. Being a camp counselor is a great way to do this. But get out there, find something you're good at, and see how you can build into our community. Hope that I'm really kind of feels strong by this measure. And this is why this channel started. I just hope that someday people will find the information and it'll help. Just talking about it. A lot of times you go into your doctor's office and they ask, well, how's it going with your diabetes? And you don't really know how to answer that. People are always afraid to tell their doctors, oh yes, I was fine, but I screwed up a bit. So what? These groups can help you get the confidence to say, yes, that day I did screw up. It's only human. So get out, get active in doing whatever works for you. If it's organizing a group, if it's organized the beginning of the group and you want to step back after, great, you've done something to build our community. Type 1 right now is an isolating disease. You're different from your kids at school. You're different from people at work. We need to come together and learn from each other. Now, you may be a parent or son or daughter who has type 1. Well, maybe have them start a youth group. There is so many different ways of doing this. Get out, build our community, because diabetes doesn't need to be isolating. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye now.